Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Amazon Delivery Service Partners are hiring full-time delivery drivers to meet growing customer demand. Receive compensation of at least $20 per hour at select stations, plus benefits and a sign-on bonus of $1,000 from participating DSPs if you apply now. No delivery experience required. Must be 21 years or older. Terms apply. Apply today at amazon.com/driver. That's amazon.com/driver.
This is your weekly sports fix with Stix.
What's up, Aaron Barcot? Pasco's finest is in the house. How you doing, my man?
Don't forget district championship now. District championship.
Hey,
don't forget that.
Hey, hold on to that thought. We're gonna get into that here in just 1 second because I need to hear all about what Aaron Barcot's been up to over these past few months, sitting in Zoom meetings, aka part of maybe half Zoom, half class regimen, right? But yeah, hold on to that 1 second, brother. We got to get into. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcasts and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Follow me on Twitter at Stix015. Join the conversation. Use that hashtag Stix in Sports, as you guys and girls have been doing. We've got some good conversations going there and some good content for y'all. So, yeah, I got Mr. Aaron Barcot chiming in finally. I know we've been playing phone tag a little bit because you've been busy. What have you been up to there, Mr. Barcot?
Well, believe it or not, in the state of Washington, we had winter sports in April, May, and June. So we just wrapped up Saturday with So I think one of my assistant coaches jokingly said after we won districts on Saturday, here's something you'll never hear after a basketball game. Congratulations. Now let's go do a pool party. So yeah, we've been playing basketball when it was supposed to be track season.
Right.
We've been playing, we got done June 20th in a regular non-COVID school year. All sports are done that Saturday before Memorial Day weekend. So we actually had to play like 3 weeks past any time frame, any kid mentally, not physically, but mentally. And then I'm coaching basketball. So I've got these girls that are like, right now is AAU time. So AAU doesn't practice. They just play tournaments. So, and then on top of that, basketball's one thing when it's 12 degrees outside with, a foot of snow, and there's nothing to do because it's dark at 4 o'clock.
Right.
It's 90 degrees out. The sun don't set till 9 o'clock, and all their friends are on Snap boating, and they're like at basketball practice, like, what the fuck? So it was a different season mentally. I had to do I think I did more psychology than I did coaching to just keep them going. But, we got a good group. We knew coming into this year, we'd probably pre-COVID, because we almost last year before COVID hit, we lost to the state champs by 4 points at their house. So we knew we were bringing everybody back and we'd be good. The good news is we bring everybody back again next year. Like those girls that lost to the state champs last year were sophomores. This year they were juniors, went 15-1 and won district. So we're ready for next year. We're excited for next year. But yeah, that's what's been going on, man. I've been barely paying attention to anything other than going to practice and trying to figure out drama XYZ every day. My boyfriend doesn't like me today. Literally walking to the locker room. We tip off at 5 and you walk in at 4:30 to do the pregame talk before they do warm-ups. And, girls are like throwing their cell phones in their bags. I'm like, stop checking. I no lie, it happened 3 years ago. I walked into a locker room before tip-off, do our little talk before they go warm up, and a girl was crying because literally she'd gotten on her cell phone right before coaches walked in, and her boyfriend had dumped her. And so like the rule was no more cell phones after 4 o'clock if we have 5 o'clock tip-offs, because I don't need you guys. I've already had to walk into a girl crying because her boyfriend dumped her 30 minutes before we play a game and she's a starter, so.
The luxury of coaching girls basketball, bro.
Oh, bro.
How long you've been coaching girls basketball again? Tell the people.
12 years now. 12 years now I've been the head coach of Pasco. I had one that was special this year. She's she's a great kid, not a bad player, but on our team, she was a kind of a tweener between the 5th starter and the first man off the bench, right? And we kind of knew, we kept her starting because she was a senior, and we knew our sophomore, who was our 6th man, was better. But mentally, we didn't know if she could take it. And there's a whole reason I'm bringing this up, because, just the coaching aspect. Mentally, we didn't know if she could take as a senior being sat. So we let her play. And there was games she outplayed the sophomore. There's games the sophomore outplayed her off the bench. And based off of who played better, that's who got more minutes. So she graduated on Saturday the 12th. Her mom was taking her out of town Monday, Tuesday. We had a game Tuesday night. It's regular season, by the way. So those of you out there who don't know, seniors had to play after graduation this year. So in cities, you graduated on the 12th. The season didn't end until the 17th. So they had to play. They had to practice and play 2 games, or practice for 5 days or 3 days and play 2 games after graduation. So there's a lot of kids that did quit after graduation with games left on the schedule. Wow. So mom takes her out of town. She misses the Kennewick game. I'm cool with it. I tell her, okay, because at this point, we're already like, we kind of want the sophomore to start anyway. So the sophomore goes out, and at this point, we're playing for first place, so every game's a playoff that week. The sophomore goes out, does a 10-point, 7-rebound, 3-assist game. So I'm like, she starts the Chihuahua game, which is our crosstown rival. So the senior comes back for the Chihuahua game, but she hasn't been at practice, missed a game. So she sat, she was fine with it. She played like 8 minutes after playing like 25 minutes a night. She was good, but again, the sophomore killed it. Dad is a head case. Dad is that dude that doesn't understand. You can look at the court, and your daughter is clearly the 5th best starter.
This is a nationwide stag, right?
I don't care, because the dude showed his ass on Saturday during the game, so I'm good with it. So you can see she's clearly the 5th best starter. Other girls been out playing her, but whatever. But Dad hadn't gone to a couple games, so he hadn't seen her not start yet. So then we play the first playoff game, and it's against her old high school because she's a transfer. Well, Dad shows up. Just so happens the sophomore starts, doesn't play well, so she comes off the bench and plays like 23 minutes while the starter plays 8. Nothing. Next day is the championship game. The sophomore starts again. She goes off again. So now we're in the playoffs. I'm a big believer. I'm not using my bench in the playoffs. I'm just who's ever hot stays out there until you run out of gas. This dude in the stands starts in the second quarter. Bro, I'm not lying. Parents walked across from the other side of the gym. This dude already doesn't like me. Won't talk to me. I don't care. Starts rooting for the other team because parents. So he knows other parents and their kids on the other team. So he's screaming behind the bench, go ahead and score. And he's naming off the players from Kamaikan. Go ahead, Monty. Go ahead, son. And like your daughter plays for Pasco, but you're now rooting on Kamaikan girls in the second quarter because you're mad your daughter hasn't hit the court yet. Bro, it's the second quarter. His daughter is almost in tears on the bench because of how embarrassed she is. Obviously, I can't put her in now, right? Because she's like, I can't put you in there. We go into halftime. It's a 1-point game. We end up winning the game by like 13, 14 points. But we come out of halftime. I pull her aside and say, hey, are you okay? Bro, she's so upset at her dad, she can't talk. Dad keeps going. Here's the funny part. Here's the reason I bring up the story with coaching.
This is what we bring you at Sports Fix with Stix and Aaron, big homie. We got everything for you, brothers. and system.
A parent who has been an AAU coach and brought me a lot of talent. I hear them in the stands. They're in the first row, right behind the bench. And all I hear is, don't come at me like that. Come at me like a man. And I turn around and I never got involved in it, obviously, but I heard that. I walked away from it. But this parent is getting on him. And he said that to the other parent. Don't talk to me like that. Come at me like a man. And I almost laughed because this dude has been like basically subtweeting me for weeks. Like, bro, you're going to tell other people to come at you like a man when you've been like trying to call me out without naming me? Like, come talk to me. So game ends, we win by 12. I don't play her again because she's a zoo. And it's not her fault, it's Dad's fault.
She's not mentally focused, ready to go.
She doesn't even stick around to cut down the nets and do the videos and all the pictures and all that because she just leaves. So we get the ladder, everybody goes and cuts their piece of the twine. Parents are doing videos, we're doing team photos. I take my 2 assistants who've been with me for 10 years back when we were freaking terrible, and now we're at the top. We're doing photos together, the 3 of us. So it's probably 30 minutes after the game. I walk out to go put everything away in my car. He's still out there talking to the other team's parents, bitching. One of the other parents on the other team mentions his daughter's name, and I'm not going to say it because it's nationwide, but says, I didn't see so-and-so play. I didn't even see her play. And bro, I'm not lying. They're 100 feet apart in the parking lot, but they're trying to entice me to a fight. And she's yelling it back to this girl's dad. And he says, don't worry about it. I'm going to train so-and-so and my daughter, and they'll get ready to be at CBC next year where they'll get real fucking coaching. And like, I'm waiting for him to say my name because of what he said to the other parent about come at me like a man. I'm waiting for him to say something to like, engage me. Like you just said to another parent, don't talk to me like that. Come at me like a man. So I'm waiting for him to come at me like a man. Never says a word, just gets in his car and drives off. And I'm just like, wait a minute. You're going to get on other people who will put you and say, don't talk to me like that unless you're going to come at me like a man, but you're going to run your mouth in the parking lot with me standing there. I'm like, I'm in the middle of you two exchanging shots at me without naming me. I'm just waiting. Just somebody say my name and I'll stop and stare at you. But
that's some crazy shit.
And by the way, this is a 15-1 team that won districts. This isn't like we went 8-8 when we should have been 16-0 and we didn't, reach our goals. We had 15-1 and won districts, which means we would have gone to state had the WIA had state. Like, so it's not like we failed and you're upset your kid is playing on a terrible team. So like on a day we win championships, I got to deal with playing time, bro.
That's the life of a girls varsity basketball coach, right?
And playing time when you win a championship. Hey, I'm about playing time.
That's some madness. I'm glad you got the championship. Congrats to that. Too bad you didn't have the WIAA state championship. Right. COVID screwed a lot of things out of this world the last year and a half. Hopefully we're on the right track. Hopefully get a full season next year with those kids. Those kids you have 15-1, you young team, be solid. Yeah.
Because the state's opening up June 30th. So unless we have some weird shit happen in August, September, we should be good to go for a full year.
Yeah. So on that note, we'll get to, first of all, like I said, looking forward to the next season. We bring everything on the Sports Fix with Stix and Nas Big Homie. Shout out to Nas Big Homie. He's not here right now. He's taking care of the fatherly duties that he is, the man that he is, taking care of those fatherly duties at the Casa. But so Aaron Barcot, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but just a little bit about me. We talked about the other day, I got my first COVID shot last week. I have to wait 2 more weeks before I get my second COVID shot. And Aaron Barcot and I were going to go to the Yankee series on Aaron Barcot's championship dime, of course. I
would have paid.
Hey, wait. No, hey, I like where you're going with that, because I might miraculously be one of the only few that get their second shot on July 7th when the Yankees are in town. July 8th, there's a game, a day game, which is the one I was really looking forward to going to on Thursday, July 8th. Maybe I will be one of the miraculous...
No. Now, behind the scenes, we got to talk about that, because if that's going to happen, I will drive my fat ass up there and we'll do it. So you got heads up.
Okay, well, that's my point. Is I'm hoping that I will get it at 11 o'clock on Thursday, the 7th. Cash out the rest of the day. Be a good boy. No alcohol. Just chill, relax.
Let me laugh at the no alcohol.
And hopefully wake up Thursday morning not feeling bad, but I heard it takes like 12 hours before it like starts to kick in, where you start feeling not good or whatever. But
power through it, bro. Power through it.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe I could power through it, dog, and maybe we can get.
It's not like you puke or do other things. It's just you don't feel good.
Hey, well, I guess I should be used to that, right?
Yeah, right. Numb yourself, bro. Numb yourself.
All right, well, let's get it. Hey, good stuff from Aaron Barcot right there. I'm glad congrats on the championship. Glad you got into that. Nice to hear the story. Like we bring all the sports stuff around here.
You're listening to your weekly sports fix with Stix.
I just want to hit real quick. I'm just going to hit on a few things that you may have missed the other day with the Nos Big Homie and I when we talked about it. Olympics start in 4 weeks. We talk about it every week. It's going to be some good stuff. July 23rd to August 8th. We're looking forward to that. NHL playoffs. New York Islanders 2 games. Tampa Bay Lightning are 3 games, so they're up by 1. They play tonight, which I don't know when this is going to go out, so maybe it'll be mid game. Montreal Canadiens took a 3-2 lead over Vegas. Nos Big Homie hit on the John Rahm golf experience this weekend. As a Nos Big Homie said, John Rahm ain't leaving without his trophy, and I quote, Kyle Larson got his 3rd win in a row on Sunday in NASCAR. Can't forget about, as we're talking about women's basketball, the Seattle Storm are 12-3, best record in the NBA. And the Seattle Sounders, MLS, are undefeated, 6 wins, 3 ties. They play tonight, late night on Wednesday against Real Salt Lake. And one last note, we have the NBA playoffs in full effect. Chris Paul, is he coming back for game 3? We don't know. We'll see. Milwaukee, Atlanta kickoff tonight on Wednesday. And like I said, maybe you might not get this till a little bit through the game, but they're favored by 7.5. Milwaukee is favored at Atlanta or against Atlanta. And Phoenix takes a 2-0 lead on the Clippers after an amazing play. Aaron Barcot, real quick, before we get into some baseball talk, because I know we want to talk a little baseball.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Did you see the Phoenix game and
last night? Holy shit!
How do you even draw up a play like that, bro?
Well, Aiden said they had never even practiced that.
Never even practiced it?
So it had to be drawn up at the last second.
Real quick, before you even get into that, because I need to know a basketball coach's perspective on this. Bro, did Crowder not do he sold it perfectly and he threw the perfect pass. If you've never practiced that pass, how in the hell do you get that pass so perfect from Crowder to Ayton on that?
And we've seen, because alley-oops are not easy on the pass. I don't care what people think. And we've seen alley-oops that are completed on terrible passes where the dude's got to bring it from behind his head or whatever.
Right.
That was right in his hand. And matter of fact, that pass was so good. I heard Shannon Sharp this morning say on Undisputed that for a moment he thought that Crowder had sunk the basket on the inbounds, which would not be legal. He had to go back and rewatch that Aiden had actually got his hands on it and dunked it. That pass was so crisp and so just right there that in the moment, in real action, no one really knew. Did the ball just hit the rim and sink in, or did he dunk it? That was one of the – and I know I hate to say this because I always get on people that talk about the greatest this, the greatest that. That might have been when you talk about Crowder's pass. In the moment, when you think about the situation, 2-0 or 1-1, 1-point game, less than a second to go, you have to practice it, and you're alley-ooping and inbound, which, by the way, let's not forget that Crowder's missed 3 is the reason that play's allowed to go on. Because
good point.
When it gets tipped out of bounds, that's the reason they're allowed to inbounds from the corner and not in the short or the block when you can't do that. Now, if you're under the block where a regular inbounds because it goes out of bounds or it's a dead ball, you can't do that alley-oop. You can't.
That's a great point.
The fact that it got tipped out of bounds on his missed 3 and it got tipped out of bounds long, that's the only reason they have that angle. And to make that pass, holy hell, bro. That's one of the greatest passes I've ever seen. And again, that's why I say I don't like to throw around greatest because I think we water things down. But when you look at that pass from that angle with a 7-footer in your face to make that, there's a million times he could have screwed that pass up. Too far behind, too high. Maybe he tries to get too
right
to the side of the backboard. He put that right. You watch it, it's right over the cylinder.
It's perfect.
All you got to do is catch it, just boom.
You probably can't do that.
God.
You probably can't do that again if you tried 100 times. There's no way.
I guarantee you those fools showed up to practice today and tried it again and didn't do it.
And it didn't work.
Yeah, I did. Because you know that as a former guy, even though that we weren't pro athletes, obviously, we're just talking high school wise. When you did shit that should never have worked and it worked, you know you went to practice the next day and fucked around and just tried like, hey, let's do this again. And it was like, damn, how come we're not doing it? You know?
Coming from Coach Aaron Barcot, I mean, you have to, 100%, I agree. Like, you know, you attempt to do the same play you did before, there's no way. And if it did work in practice or they tried it out, they had to at least do it 10, 20 times and finally got maybe close, quote unquote, right, but not the exact same perfect pass.
Plus, you're not defending it because you don't want anybody getting hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're playing 5-on-5, some of those guys are playing in a playoff game. You don't want anybody defending him and they're like, you know, doing something stupid and breaking something or spraying something on defense in a dumb play that you're going to run once in a million times. So they probably did it 5-on-none.
Yeah.
So probably never had to done that or do it with a guy defending him literally all the way through the jump because the guy was right there. It wasn't.
Booker had a solid screen on that too, by the way.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Booker had a solid screen on that after he got his nose crunched or whatever, which needs to be adjusted because it was a little crooked. Like UFC fight or some shit.
I think that thing's broken, but he'll be all right.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. So,
by the way, for all the youngins out there, I don't want to hear, because I've seen it on all the social media, I don't want to hear Booker's the next Kobe Bryant. No, he's not.
Oh, boy. You and Nas Big Homie are going to have a beef.
But now, I'm not saying Booker's not good. Booker's a stud.
And you know Kobe's Nas Big Homie's guy, too. So
don't tell me he's Kobe. Kobe's different, just like Michael was different.
Well, yeah, of course, I get that, but
that would be like
Big Homie are gonna have a beef.
That would be like you as a Mariner fan, where we got the dude, the outfielder in the White Sox is killing it, being like, oh man, that's the Knicks Griffey Jr. You'd be like, what?
All right, slow down with all the Mariners talk. We're gonna get into that in a second. All right, let's get into some baseball, bro. Let's get into some baseball. Speaking of my Mariners. Those dudes almost got no hit today, by the way. I attempted to.
Their 5-game win streak?
5-game win streak.
You almost got no hit for the third time?
Almost, I said. I attempted to jinx them in the third inning when they were getting no hit. They got no hit till the bottom of the 6th. So they got a hit in the 6th with a Taylor Trammell homer. Before today's game, they were 8-2. So 8-2 in their last 10. Solid performance. I mean, hell, that's amazing, right? You can't go wrong with that.
Oh, absolutely.
But Houston's won 9 in a row. I mean, Houston and Oakland, man, they're solid. It's gonna be a tough way to catch those guys. But hey,
we did help you out because we just went in there and took like the series from Oakland.
Oh, your Yankees did. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Need a little help here and there, but also, like I said before, I said 3-4 weeks ago I didn't think the Mariners were gonna sniff 500. You might have even been on that podcast. We talked about that. I don't even know if you were or not, but man, they're back above 500 now. 2 games above 500 after today. Tough road trip, bro. White Sox in Toronto.
They're gonna have the losing record in that. They're those 2 teams. I know Toronto's the last in the AL East, but Toronto, they've got what the Mariners want. In terms of lineup, Toronto has a great lineup. Their pitching staff sucks. Outside of the starter, the Korean dude they got from the Dodgers, their pitching staff is terrible.
Ryu?
But their lineup is what the Mariners GM was hoping for 3 years ago when he walked in there and made all those trades and said 2021 will be competitive. I know, Jason, I've said this before. And God bless the Mariners. They are playing as hard as they can play. You got one pitcher flexing, and he's even been lit up a couple times. Last night he was not, but he's been lit up a couple times. But I do think he's good.
I like flexing, yeah.
That lineup is not what everybody thought it would be. And they're going to find out when they go to Toronto, even though Toronto's pitching staff's not good, they're going to get a firsthand look at what a young lineup really is when they see Toronto's. Because I love Toronto's young lineup.
Who doesn't? I agree.
That's what the Yankees struggle with it because the Yankees have 2 guys. When Corey Kluber comes back, and we'll talk about this with Tampa and their starting pitcher's injury. When Corey Kluber comes back, that fixes a lot of things because when he got hurt, remember the Yankees were on fire. They got within a half game of first place. They were like 13, 14 games over 500. Now we're struggling right around 3 games over 500. Had that losing streak that was huge. And it's all happened when a legit number 1 starter got hurt. And now everybody's got to scramble. You don't know who your 5th starter is anymore. Now the bullpen's got to pitch more innings. And now and we'll talk about that with Tampa Bay with Glasgow now out for the year. That's why they're on an 8-game losing streak and how that changes the locker room mentally. It's not, people forget that. It's not, how does just one great player go down, kill you? It's the mentality in the locker room. And so that's the one thing Toronto's got. They're kind of reminding me of the Yankees in 2017 when they almost went to the World Series out of nowhere. When they pushed Houston to Game 7. Remember when Houston won all the home games and the Yankees won all the home games, but Houston was the home team, so they got 4 games. That's what kind of Toronto reminds me. They're not going to go that deep, but they remind me of that lineup. It gets scary if they just had any kind of pitching.
Since I referenced this before, I referenced this a lot of the times when you were on before, Aaron Barcot. You're the smartest man I know for some reason, all around the board, right? A lot of
people.
You fool a lot of people. Yes, you do, right? You fool a lot of people. Is that right?
Yep, no, I said you don't. I said you don't know a lot of people.
Oh, I don't know a lot of people. Okay, well, you fool a lot of people too.
True.
Not really though, because you do have a lot of knowledge. And I'm not talking just about sports. I'm talking about in life and in other stuff that we've had numerous conversations, not on camera over the years that I've known you, bro.
Right.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and let me know what you think about this because I've been thinking about this the last few days about talking about sports and we're talking about the playoffs and we're talking about the new wild card or the wild card game this year, where there's only 2 teams that make the wild card instead of the 8 teams in each division, like the playoff they had in 2020, which Rudy and Aaron Jones and Anas Big Homie and I talked about how we missed, like, that was the best for baseball, in my opinion. And in our opinion, I think we all agreed on that. So even though there are teams that are 6, 5.5, 6, 7 games out, as we always reference to, it is a long season and you play all these games, you can go on runs. That's what baseball is about. You go 8-2 or you go 9-0, or you go back in the day, the Oakland Athletics go 22 or 23-0 or whatever, right? Billy Beanball, Moneyball, right? So what are your thoughts on this season before we get into the good stuff, which we really need to get into because I think that's going to take some time, on the new substance abuse? We're going to get into that. But what are your thoughts on, do you think this season really plays out competitively towards the end? Because I believe that even with your Yankees being 5.5 out of the AL East behind the Red Sox, even with my Mariners being maybe 6.5 out now, I don't know what the line is now. Right. I think they still have a shot. It's weird. I think a lot of the teams besides, whatever, the Diamondbacks or the Orioles or whatever, who don't really care. I mean, there's going to be some moves made. There's going to be some plays made. What are your thoughts on the season coming to it? We're only 70 games in, still have less than 100 games in. Don't even
go ahead. I've always thought that if you're under 9 games out come trade deadline, July 31st, then you have a shot. That doesn't mean you're in I'm not saying you're in a good spot. I'm not saying you have your opponents right where you want them. But as long as you're 9 games or less out of the trade deadline, because we've seen that, we've seen where the Mariners gave up on Randy Johnson, sent him to Houston, and he went buck wild, and that team came out of nowhere. We've seen where the Mariners have come out of nowhere. Remember the 95 Mariners? And we've seen, and I know those are 1 in a 5-10 year kind of teams, but as long as you're not 10 games out at the trade deadline, you can make an adjustment. Because, and I know this is stupid, you can't count on it, but when you're in a sport we've talked about, we just mentioned it, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You can make a big trade, and then that one team can get a big injury, and all of a sudden that 9-game thing can evaporate. As bad as my Yankees have played, I know there's no trades that have been made. I remember after we got swept by the Red Sox 2 weeks ago, we were 9 games out, and I quit watching. And I just focused on my basketball team. 2 days ago, I looked them up. I'm like, holy shit, we're only 4 games out? What the hell happened? Like, I didn't hear, and we weren't red hot. We hadn't done anything great. It's just Boston kind of went 500. Tampa Bay lost 8 in a row. And we just kind of chugged along and made up some games. So come July 31st, you still got 2 months. There's 2 months.
Right. There's so much baseball left.
So if you're only 9 games out, all you have to literally do is make one. Now, I know it takes a lot, but you make one big trade. All you got to do at August 1st is make 1 game a week. I remember in 2004 when we sold our asses out and looked stupid and lost the LCS after going up 3-0 to the Red Sox. I was at.
He says we as a Yankees fan, by the way, for everybody that doesn't.
As to you as a Mariners fan, I guarantee you, in 2001, you were like we.
Of course I was, and I still
was a long time ago. But I remember we were at a family vacation at Disneyland, and Kurt Schilling lost a game, and it was nothing because Kurt was not a trade deadline pickup, but it was August, and he lost a game big. And I remember looking at it. We were living in Disneyland. And I looked at the score. I'm like, oh, my God. And I looked at the standings. And at that point in time, the Red Sox were 10.5 games behind the Yankees on August 1st. Now, granted, You had David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. You had Kurt Schilling and Pedro Martinez. But it was August. And you were 10 and a half games out of first. They won the fucking World Series. So I just believe if you're 9 games out and you're competitive, now you can't have nobody on your team and just trade for one guy. But if you're the Padres, who I really like right now, and I don't know how the hell the San Francisco Giants are doing it, because let's not forget who their manager is. The Phillies fired him. They fired him because he couldn't get the Phillies to the playoffs, and now somehow he's got the Giants in first place over the Dodgers and the Padres.
Right.
But if you're the Padres, and I know the Padres are probably, because we know historically they're cheap, so they probably already overextended themselves. But my God, if you're the Padres and you make one minor trade, you're probably major. You're probably going big time. I still believe my Yankees, if they make one trade, because Severino, who I was banking on, because he's a great starting pitcher, he really is, but he tweaked his groin in rehab. So now there's no question when he comes back.
Groins take forever, bro.
They do.
And they tweak again.
And Kluber's already throwing again. So now once Kluber gets back, because he was lighting it up. Now you got Kluber.
But now he's got the substance to worry about.
But now, wait a minute. Kluber was not the 99, 100-mile-an-hour guy. He was a 92, 93-mile-an-hour guy. So his substance thing, you're talking about the sticky thing.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that.
What most pitchers talk about is the hard throwers. That the sticky thing is because, and honestly, it's actually a good thing because they don't want to lose control of that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It's not about the slide.
Okay. Time out. Go ahead and finish your Kluber thing because we'll get into that because I want to hear about that because you're going to get into that.
You bring Kluber back, and if they can find another pitcher, I really believe the Yankees, if they're not 9 games out, because you look at the pitching staff, even with the losing streak that they're on.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Their pitching staff still has like a 3.4, 3.5 ERA in the American League. Their problem is offense. And you know, in the playoffs, offense doesn't matter. It comes down to, can you have a lockdown staff and bullpen? So I'm not worried about the offense because we've seen the Royals go to back-to-back World Series with an average offense, but they had a great bullpen that was just locked down. So I'm not worried about the pitching staff. I'm worried about, well, I should say, I'm worried about the starters. So I do need another starter. So I should correct myself. They need one starter, and because I don't know how the hell Boston's fucking smoke and mirrors this season. I don't know how. The Chris Sale, by the way, hasn't picked up a baseball. So how is Boston?
Is he even still employed by the? Is he still employed by the?
Dude,
by the Red
they
Sox?
signed him to a $40 million a year contract. They won the World Series the first year of the contract. He's been hurt every year since. So he's made $120 million without pitching. He's not
baseball
throwing.
Contracts, bro. Baseball contracts.
Somehow that team, and by the way, they've had multiple starters going to DL, and somehow they're winning. And by the way, the outfield, remember Mookie Betts and all those guys? What was it? The guy that came up when Judge came up, he's now in Kansas City. Starts with a B. I forget his name now.
But I don't know who that is.
Benintendi.
Okay, yeah.
And then that entire starting outfield from their last World Series is gone.
Hey.
So is their starting rotation. But somehow they're 15 games. It's one of those teams, and you've been there as a Mariner fan, where you're like really good, and then somehow in August, September, you fall apart. I think that's where Boston's going. So the Yankees just got to pick up one starter, and Tampa Bay's already lost Glasgow, and we'll get into how that affects you mentally in the locker room. Go ahead, man.
Perfect insight from Aaron Barcot on his Yankees. You get this guy talking about baseball and he always rolls into the Yankees, which is okay. I'm okay with that. I like to hear the Yankees aspect of it because that's what we do. we talk about everything and we get everything in perspective for a lot of fans. And hey, use the hashtag Stix Sports and let me know what you think about what we're talking about, because we're gonna get into some good stuff right now. We're gonna get into some good stuff because I have way too many notes on here for me to even follow what I want to talk about right now, Aaron. And this MLB quote unquote sticky stuff. So I hope you all can follow me on this, because there's been a lot of talk about this. We touched about this with Stix and Aaron's big homie the other day about it. Started on Monday, June 21st, when we did a quick podcast for y'all. So the MLB sticky stuff, in my opinion, is out of freaking control, Aaron Barcot. This shit is crazy, dude.
Now back to your weekly sports fix with Stix.
What I want to start out with is how many years ago, and Aaron, since Aaron Barcot is the smartest man I know, he's probably going to tell you, and if he doesn't, he's going to act like he knows. Yadier Molina had a ball stick to his fucking chest protector, bro. Like 3 years ago or whatever. It was like when you were throwing those old Velcro balls when you were a little kid, you got to throw them at a little target across the wall. And nobody had anything to say about that. And then now in 2021, you have the umpires being judge, jury, and executioner on this. And dude, this stuff is way crazy to me. Like, it's all over the place. I mean, when you're watching a baseball game, and I've watched a couple here in the last couple of days when I could, you watch a baseball game, and I was watching the Mariners today, for example. I should have wrote his name down. I can't remember. I had it in my head. Vitae Natoli. I just butchered his name, and I don't even know it for a fact now. This dude had made his major league debut, and in the ninth inning, and top of the eighth inning, and he was walking off the mound. He gave up a 2-run home run to Trevor Story, which was Trevor Story's second home run of the game. Major league debut, couldn't even find the strike zone, and he gets checked on his way out. Okay, so this is where I'm going with this. Is this getting way out of control? Like, or is this just something that man, I don't even know. It's way out of control, bro. Like, you can't do it.
I agree. So here's where it comes from. Josh Donaldson is going to have to just understand.
He said he had a list, right?
He said he had a list, which, by the way, how many times have we heard people say they have a list and we never see the list? So that's just an MVP guy. He and we've seen this. Jose Canseco's the same. Other guys are the same. Why did Josh?
First of all, we don't say that name of the Oakland Athletic on the show. We decided to bar him from it.
So my point is, how many former MVPs, I'll throw out a former Mariner Yankee, A-Rod, who are really, really good, although I will say A-Rod was really, really good even after the suspension because he won a World Series after that, and an MVP. How many of these guys that run their mouths, so let's just be honest. How many of these guys
we got two discussion pieces. Sorry to cut you off. We got two discussion pieces right now because you're going to talk about people who run their mouths, and we're going to talk about substances in this aspect.
Right. But here, right.
I'm okay with that.
So Josh Donaldson's the guy that's been traded after being a great all-star in Oakland, went to Toronto. Now he's gone to so here's where people forget. As good as Josh Donaldson is, he's a journeyman now. He's on his fourth or fifth team. As a former MVP, he's on his fourth or fifth team because he also did Atlanta and now he's in Minnesota. So he's on his fourth team that I know of for sure.
And he was hurt earlier.
Yeah. So now you're 30, 31, 32. You're however many years now, 5-6 years removed from your MVP year. You haven't been on, other than he was in Atlanta last year, but he was a no name on Atlanta because he was just, behind all those great hitters. And now you're in Minnesota where you're grossly underachieving. And now you want to run your mouth about, I got a list. Maybe you're running your mouth because of how bad you perform. So maybe we should be asking, what made you so great 5 years ago that you're not shitty?
I like it.
At the same time, what did Garrett Cole say after Garrett Cole struck him out twice at Minnesota and beat him? Because here's what I will say. People have been on Garrett Cole for whatever reason, became the poster child of it. Garrett Cole's still not giving up more other than one game, which was the very first game after Josh Donaldson's interview. Since then, Garrett Cole's right back to Garrett Cole. Now, he's not striking out 13 people anymore. He's down to 5 or 6, but he's still giving up 1 or 2 runs a night. So my question is, and Garrett Cole said this in an interview, there's a need to have some things out there, like everybody on the field. So what Garrett Cole basically said was, everybody on the field has something in their mitt because we all are so athletic and throw so hard. There's dudes in the outfield throwing 90 miles an hour. I don't want to hit a guy on the side of this fucking helmet throwing to first or second, and he slides in and I catch him in the fucking face at a 93 mile an hour fucking fastball from right field. There's so many people. And then even some of the hitters have said, hey, some of these pitchers throwing 101 miles an hour, I want them to have that shit on their hands because it's not cheating. That ball does not add velocity. Spin rate, okay. But it adds control. So now you take that shit out of their hand. He throws 103 mile an hour fastball. Do you want, by the way, even at 32 years old, Aroldis Chapman just threw the hardest fastball this year last week. Do you want that guy throwing 103.5 miles an hour with no clue where the fuck it's going?
Absolutely not, bro.
Because if he doesn't
absolutely not,
that could kill somebody.
Right.
There's certain things that need to be allowed. By the way, why is Pine Tar still on a bat?
Ah, there we go. I like it. Here
Pine Tar still on a bat.
That's what I'm.
Pine Tar is allowed. It's just allowed so far up the
George Brett style.
It's not like you can't use it. It's how far up the handle. So why can't? Watch just walked in and said, "Why are you yelling?" It's not about can you or can you not use it.
Time out.
She's
Aaron Barcot's wife just came in
she just
and
opened the door and
said,
just looked
"Why
at me
are you
like,
yelling?"
Yeah, but again, the pine tar on the handle. It's not that batters can't use pine tar to hold. And by the way, what is pine tar? It's a sticky substance. They hold on to the bat. The pine tar rule is about how far up it can go. So you can't do a, bring it up on a 2-strike count, but pitchers can't really, if they really cared, they would have made this an issue when Michael Pineda got caught 5 years ago with the stuff on his neck.
On his neck, right?
Baseball,
oh, yeah.
And this is what you and I talked about behind the scenes. This is where baseball doesn't get it. People forget. They'll make steroids a huge deal in baseball. Oh my God, this guy's on steroids. Who's doing what in baseball? They forget Richard Sherman got suspended for steroids. They forget half of the Legion of Boom did steroids. They forget that a rookie of the year in Houston got steroids, got popped for steroids. They forget all these things because no one cares because it's football. Because in football and baseball, the difference is in football, you don't remember. You can't recite off the top of your head who's the all-time leading yards passer, who's the all-time leading rusher, who's got the most touchdowns. In baseball, it's all about numbers. It's home runs, strikeouts. And so when people start talking about cheating, it's the same fans from the same cities. You might be a New York Giant fan and don't care who cheats on the Giants, but you're a Yankee fan, you care who cheats on the Yankees. It's just so hypocritical.
It really is. I mean, it really is. And when you think about it in that aspect of it. And the thing that I think about is when I've heard this, and I'm 99.9% sure that this is the actual rule for what's going on with the checking of the pitchers. I'm 99.9% sure, like I said, the umpires are the judge, jury, and executioner.
I
so
agree.
what the fuck was Joe Girardi doing the other day when he was suggesting, quote unquote, that, hey, you should check Max Scherzer for his hair when he's rubbing his hands through his hair. And we've all seen this. I hope you've all seen it. If you haven't, you could check it out. But he's
got out of control. That shit got out of control after that.
Yeah, and that was the third time that Scherzer was checked. And he was, I mean, in the middle of an inning after he struck somebody out or whatever with the guy on first base, you get checked. And then remind everybody that we are still in COVID situations. The umpire with no gloves on actually rubs his hands through Scherzer's hair, bro. Like, what in the fuck is going on right now? Like, is he giving a massage? Like, what the hell's going on? Like,
that's where baseball doesn't get it.
Ridiculous.
The NBA and the NFL would never allow their star. Tom Brady had the flat football thing, and the NFL fought it, whatever. But outside of that, the NFL and the NBA would never allow this much. Like, when is the last time the NFL and the NBA changed the rules mid-season to crack down on young stars? Now, if I'm an owner, why are you agreeing to this? Why are you letting the commission do this? Why am I paying, if I'm the Dodgers, Bauer, who, by the way, has a .500 record, as does Kershaw this year, $20 to $30 million a year to go find out if they're cheating? I'm still locked into that contract. It's guaranteed. I got to pay it even if you catch him. Why would I allow that? If I'm an owner in the NBA and in Major League Baseball where contracts are guaranteed, no, we're not doing this. I don't care, because even if you pop my guy, I still got to pay him.
Speaking of Bauer, what kind of shenanigans are we going to see tonight at 7:05 on a Wednesday from Bauer tonight, who's facing Musgrove in San Diego? This is his first start. He's going to get the sword. He's going to do the sword. Is he going to do the sword with some kind of substance that he's going to acclimate to his regimen? Because tonight is going to be a shit show, bro. If they're probably on ESPN, San Diego and LAD are going to be on there. And this is Bauer's first start since this new rule or whatever. I'm sure he already attempted to get, if he was using anything, he said, I'm not going to use it last start, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know what his numbers were then. But tonight could be a circus act for MLB, bro, especially if they're going to keep frisking these guys like they did Grom on his first half inning. I mean, this shit is
the Grom has to answer some questions, though. And it's not about sticky substance. The Grom, when is the last time we've seen a guy get called up? And people forget this. Jacob DeGrom was not. It was Thor who was their big prospect. Jacob DeGrom came up as a secondary prospect, throwing 92, 94. He was throwing 92, 94 when he came up. How is he throwing 100 miles an hour now? When have you seen a guy come up in the major leagues throwing 94 and during his career went from 94 to 100?
Hey, he got the good coaching and mechanics issues worked out.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. That's why they called him up at 92, 94, and all of a sudden he's better than the number one prospect. Come on, man. I know you're being sarcastic. But how come Marco Gonzalez can't go from 93 to 99 if this guy goes 94 to 100? What come on, man. What is that? Like literally, people can call out Garrett Cole. And I'm a Yankee apologist, but he played for two other organizations before us. Garrett Cole was throwing 97 in UCLA. This bro came up in the major leagues throwing 92. Now it throws 100. Come on, man.
Well, like I said, I have a billion notes over here, and I'm just going through them. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'd like to see, I'd like to see anybody speak up about this. I mean, they've talked a few of the pitchers have said Glass now, like you just said, you know,
he blew his arm out. He blew his arm out.
He hurt his arm. Like,
and and when he did it, he admitted I was using the substance. And
yes, because that is why he got the sticky stuff. And again, he referenced to these pitchers are referencing to, you know, would you rather me have control on the ball, or would you rather me, you know, hit you in the head with a 95, 99 mile an hour fastball? You know, whatever it is, 90 mile an hour fastball, for God's sakes, is not going to feel good, right? So you don't want that. So I want, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Anas Big Homie and I talked about, when are these old school pitchers going to come out and say, hey, this is what I use, this is how we keep it going, and this is how we keep the grip. Like, do you think that anybody's going to step up, Aaron Barcot, and say that, you know, Pedro Martinez, not Kurt Schilling, you know, he ain't going to step up to nothing.
Kurt's an idiot, but
yeah, he's not doing nothing.
I believe
Andy Pettit. I mean, come on. Anybody going to say anything? Come on. Where are these guys at?
Andy Pettit's already had to admit to HGH, which, by the way, is not a steroid. It just gets you over injuries. So, but I
spoken from a true Yankee fan.
No, but I do believe that Pedro will talk about it. Because Pedro's that guy. He's always been that guy. He doesn't care. He's always been unfiltered. I believe Pedro will talk about because even his brother Ramon, remember his brother Ramon went from winning 20 games. Remember, people forget Ramon Martinez, how good he was, and then he just fell.
Expose.
No, Ramon was with the Dodgers.
Dodgers.
He was the Clayton Kershaw back when they couldn't make the playoffs, but he was winning 20 games when they were winning 75. And then all of a sudden, he fell off. Like he was that guy that won 18 to 20 for 5 years and then just disappeared immediately. And then Pedro showed up. So I guarantee you, Pedro knows that Ramon was using stuff, and he used the same stuff to try to keep himself. Because people forget, Pedro's issue when the Dodgers traded him, he could never stay healthy. So all of a sudden, I guarantee you, Pedro had to find ways to, if I can't stay healthy, how do I compensate by using stuff so I don't have to do certain things? I don't have to use my shoulder or throw my shoulder around if I get certain things going. Other pitchers have already talked about it. I'm sure it'll come out. I think part of the reason it hasn't, it's just so new, and again, why?
How long is this going to last? Like, I mean, are they going to really go through the rest of the year like this? There's no way.
And why do it
this lasts the rest of the year.
And why do it mid-season? So that great Dodger reliever, I can't pronounce his name, but it starts with a U, is a left-hander.
Urias?
Yes. I watched him the other night against the Padres give up 2 home runs. After the second home run, the umps on their own, it had nothing to do with the Padres, went and checked his mitt. Why? The dude's getting lit up. Why are you checking for sticky stuff? He's getting lit. Like, if he's just rocking them like 7 straight Ks, absolutely in this era. The dude just got lit up. Why are you checking? I literally watched it while I was at the gym. They're like, he's out there, they're checking his hat, they're checking his mitt. I'm like, bro, he just gave up 3 runs in like 2/3 of an inning. You're checking his stuff now?
That's exactly what I was just saying about the Mariners reliever today. Natoli or whatever, his first major league debut, gave up a home run, couldn't find the strike zone, and they're still checking him on his way out. Bro, this guy, don't give this guy, you know, any more anxiety than he already has after he just gave up a run in his major league debut, a home run in his major league debut. And are these umpires gonna, I mean, what is it is, are they obviously aren't checking just the elite guys, but they're checking numerous pitchers. But at the same time, like, it's just way too much, bro. It's a circus act.
I do find it funny that guys like Jacob deGrom are on their 3rd injury of the season now. He's had to check out for 3 different. He's had like multiple MRIs this year. MRIs that keep coming back clean, but I can't finish a game. But let's go back to our era. Do you really think Hoffman saved 600 games with the Padres on a changeup that didn't have any substances?
No.
was a guy that all he did was throw changeups for 600 saves. Now, Mr. Yankee apologist, do you really think Mariano Rivera saved almost 800 games throwing a cutter for 22 years without substance?
That he didn't have any control over?
Absolutely. How many bats did that dude break?
Right.
Do you think there wasn't something there and no one cared?
Right. It's been going on for so long, and they have this thing. So, what was I going to say? Can someone just get caught? Can someone get caught, please? So we can move on from this?
I think Taylor already did it, Taylor Glasnow. When he came out and said, yeah, I do it. And that's what blew out my arm when I stopped doing it.
Right. So, and then to close us out, I think that this is a perfect example of what you just said. So Glasnow came out and said, I use this. I think Scherzer actually said the same thing. He said that I used sunscreen also and this. Okay, so now the topic of discussion is, does MLB come up with something by the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, or do they wait till next year where they say that pitchers can use something other than rosin? We're going to put it behind the mound and use it, because something's got to happen. MLB has to come up with something.
Jason, they've already said this, and that's why Matt Scherzer can say it without getting suspended. They've already said there is a list of substances you can use, and sunscreen is one of them. They already have a list of things you can use. It's when Josh Donaldson and those guys who all of a sudden, and by the way, this happens after, it's just magically after the Astros cheating thing comes out, the guys all of a sudden can't hit. Do we really think it's because pitchers are using substances that these guys can't hit? Or is this a repercussion of the Astros weren't the only team cheating for their lineup? And now we got guys that don't want to get caught cheating, that were cheating outside of the Astros to be superstars. Maybe this is how Oakland wins every year, and their lineup always has a guy hitting 45 home runs for $300,000 a year because there's some system. And by the way, how's Oakland and San Francisco the two hardest places to hit a home run, but one of them has a guy hitting 45 home runs, Chris Davis, who can't hit once he leaves Oakland? Why is Josh Donaldson, these guys who all of a sudden can't hit, complaining? Maybe it's because you were doing the Houston Astros thing and you didn't want to, and I know they weren't Houston Astros, but my point is the Astros want to. Do we really believe the Astros and Red Sox were the only two teams doing it? And now these guys can't hit. And so what are they doing? Hey, I know
calling people out.
This. And so now they're like, hey, I don't want to get called out, but my numbers are down and my next contract coming up. Hey, this guy's doing this. That's why my numbers are down. And now we're finding out everybody cheats. And at the end of the day, as a professional athlete, you're entertainment. I don't give a shit what you're doing. And I don't mean any disrespect. I'll put his name out there. Ken Caminiti, because he's, rest in peace. I don't care what you're doing. You're here to play a sport. And what are we doing? Like
selling tickets, baby.
What the gladiators say? Russell Crowe, are you not entertained? So, hey, you made a choice to make $30 million a year. You're going to do X, Y, Z, because that's what guys do to hit home runs, or that's what guys do to get 300 strikeouts.
This fucking analytics bullshit.
That's killing baseball, bro. The analytics is killing baseball.
100%.
But I just think that guys cheat, and the Astros thing I think goes deeper than the Astros, and I think it goes deeper than batting lineups. Now guys can't hit that weren't on the Astros because they have their own cheating system, and now their numbers are down, and they want to point out that pitchers are cheating too.
And on another point is that none of the Astros players got suspended. The manager got let go and suspended or whatever. Alex Cora from the Red Sox got suspended or whatever.
By the way, they're both managing right now.
They're both managing.
Now.
But now you want to suspend pitchers for using that stuff for 10 days or whatever it is. And a couple of the pitchers came out and said, okay, so now you're going to suspend us for doing this. but you already know for a fact that the players were, illegally and cheating, all this bullshit, and then now you're gonna do this. That doesn't make any sense.
No, and that's why I told you, and I didn't bring that point up, and you're 100% accurate. But that's where I say Major League Baseball is so far behind the 8 ball, where it's how is like football would never allow 2 different cheating conspiracies to go on and treat them differently, nor would the NBA. Only Major League Baseball will come out and say, yes, the Astros cheated, and we're not suspending any players, but we'll suspend anybody that throws at them. And we're going to start investigating pitchers because some random hitter brought something up because his numbers now suck. And he's going to throw people under the bus. So, yeah, we'll suspend you.
And we've already known it's been going on for the last 50 years. So
Absolutely.
Now we're going to use it against the hitters.
To piggyback, that's how Garrett Cole becomes the face of this. Because, you pitch for the Astros. Now, the pitching wasn't the cheater. It was the hitters. But you were a part of a cheater, and now that's what makes it so easy for Josh Donaldson to say, Garrett Cole, he cheats, because he's the first pitcher to have success after leaving Houston. So he's like, the guy's numbers are still good after leaving? Yeah, because he cheats. Like, really? We're not going to look into anything else? Like, why are we doing this now? Like, again, why are we changing? Like, you play fantasy football with me, and you know how much Ricky and other guys would get mad if I change the rules in the middle of the season.
Right. It's the same thing.
Why are we changing the rules mid-year? I would understand if you did a thing like, as much as I hate the NCAA, but at least they're smart enough to say in the offseason, we're going to look at this and we'll come up with new rules. Why are we changing shit in June when these pitchers were already at spring training warming up their arms?
After they only had 60 games last year where they couldn't get their arms right and were worried about injuries right now. So now they're going to make them change everything. And as far as injuries go, we already had Glass now. We have DeGrom.
Who thinks this isn't going to happen? I mean, this is what and God bless Kershaw. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to hate on him, but there's a reason he's having the worst year of his career. And it's not just age, because the guy was lights out in the World Series last year. All of a sudden, he's at 500.
Finally.
Because he's trying to not get caught. The guy that throws curveballs for a living. You think he doesn't have sticky substance when he's throwing the greatest curveball at 38?
A hell of a 12-6 curveball, bro.
Yeah, at 38. Yeah, he doesn't have sticky shit in his fucking mitt. That's the problem they don't get. That baseball's, you're selling out your stars.
Yeah, I don't understand the aspect of it as far as like, right now, because it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any business sense for the MLB. It doesn't make, when you already have a season where your hitters are hitting 230, whatever it is, low 230s, like
you already had all these no hitters.
Yeah, and no hitters and all this stuff going on. Like, what are you doing? Like, you couldn't have just pushed that back and said, okay, in the offseason, we're going to look at this. And then you're going to come up with this. Okay, here's some sunscreen and rosin or whatever you want to use at the end. You can't do that right now or then, and you have to do it right now. It's just ridiculous that, you want viewers, you want more MLB viewers, right? Like baseball, everybody, a lot of the non fans who just go to the games and just have a good time, and want to watch, or you want to get these millennials into the baseball game. You're not going to get them where you're going to have people the pitchers checked in the mid at bat or whatever to make the game longer. You're trying to make the game shorter. You put the pitch clock on, you put the mound visits on, you put all this on, but you're going to make it longer now. Doesn't make any sense.
But and here's my other piece to fight that too. To piggyback what you just said, the one thing you'll fight is your own employees. And what I mean by fight is you'll fight for them. That's the umpires. Oh, you want to check sticky substance. You want to talk about how to speed up games, X, Y, Z. But you refuse to put anything that calls balls and strikes out. Because that's the one thing managers can't argue, right? Hitters can't argue. So one thing they want to review is balls and strikes, because that's your employee, the umpire. You're going to call out the pitcher for sticky substance. You're going to call out the hitter for steroids, but you're not going to call out your 45-year veteran umpire, Joe West, or Adrian Gonzalez, who's terrible.
Oh, my. Angel Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez, my bad.
Yes.
You're not going to put computers in there and let managers say that's not a strike. But you'll question what the players do. So you'll question what the owners, individual players do once they sign them to a $30 million a year contract. But you won't question your employees, the umpires. That's bullshit. That's so much hypocrisy right there.
Wow. MLB is a interesting aspect of business right now. Hey, you know what? We're going to close this out. We kept you guys on here for a good hour. Appreciate everybody listening. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcasts and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. You can follow me on Twitter at Stix015. Aaron Barcot, my man, Pasco's finest. Congrats to your girls on the district championship. Too bad you didn't get to go to state. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate you, bro. We'll have you back on soon. What do you think?
All right, my man. Take care of yourself. Love you, brother.
All right. Love you too, bro. Let's get it.
All right. Let's
Appreciate
get it.
You.
I'll see you at the Mariners game in 2 weeks.
Oh, bro. Let's do it.
Absolutely. All right, man. You and I drank too much to get together. It's going to be a shit show when you and I get together.
Copy that.
Damn, this is fun.
That was Sports Fix with Stix. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. If you want to join the show, use the hashtag StixandSports.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.